What is going on, guys? So I'm here. Today I've made a list of top 5 ways to farm gold in World of Warcraft. So number 1 is Dune Scavenger Farming. Now this is a mount you can farm in Vol'Dun. Now the spot I'm farming at right now is in the South Vol'Dun. I believe there are several spots, but they keep getting nerfed all the time. So I just keep changing spots, and when one gets nerfed I move to a different spot. And right now this one works, so I'm just gonna stay here. But if you know of any other spots in Vol'Dun that works to farm this, then let me know. And if you also have any different ways to farm gold, then also let me know in the comments. But number 1 is the Dune Scavenger Farm. You can do this solo if you really want to, but it's really bad. You can do it in a 5-man group, but what I would recommend is do this in a 2x4-man group. So you set up 2 groups of 4 on the same phase or the same realm, and you just kill stuff. Because if one group of 4 kills something, then a different group, up to 4 people, can also share that same loot table. So farming in 2x4 means you're 8 people farming, and then you can have 1 monk tank who heals his own statue. Then you can have 7 DPS just killing and killing and killing. And you want to have, let's say you have 1 melee and the rest are ranged, and the range just keep pulling mobs all the time, and the melee just stands right at the totem or the statue and just kills everything down. Then you can get really good kills per hour. And let's say the mount has a 1 in 10,000 drop chance, which I believe is the drop chance. Then you can just download an add-on called Kill Tracker and track how many kills you get per hour. And if you get 2,000 kills per hour, which I think is pretty decent, I think that's the average you should be getting at this spot, that means you should be getting 1 mount every 5 hours. But in my experience so far, I keep getting roughly 1 mount every 8 hours, but considering the mount sells for roughly 400k on my server, that is a really good gold per hour. That's gonna give me, I don't even know, it's gonna give me a ton of gold per hour, over 40k, and even if you don't get that mount, you get a really good amount of gold per hour just by selling the greys and the greens, and if you disenchant the greens you might get even more, or if you scrap them for expulsion. And you also get a ton of those cloth, and if you're a tailor you get extra cloth as well. So if you're a tailor and you farm this, you should be getting 5k gold per hour in cloth, and you should also be getting roughly 5k gold per hour in vendor gold. So you're getting a steady 10k per hour, and then the mount and epic just comes on top of that. Now number 2 is the herbalism route in Tiragarde Sound. Now over here you're farming for ankerweed, riverbud, siren's pollen, sea stalk, and pretty much, yeah, those. You get some star moss as well, but ankerweed, riverbud, siren's pollen and sea stalk are the most expensive herbs, except for the, what is it called? The thing in Vol'Dun that you farm there. Except for those, the Akunda's Bite, there we go. Except for that one, the herbs you're farming on this route are the most expensive ones, usually. So it's a really good route to farm, and it has a ton of ankerweed as well. I don't know why, but it just seems to have more ankerweed than other spots. And yeah, it's just a really easy route to farm. You just run around the river, and if you have extra time, or if you do this really fast, or if somebody else is farming this, and there's not that many herbs available, you can choose a different route, or to extend your route further to the left and to the right, as I'm showing on the map. You can take those spots as well, because they do include some extra herbs. But if you're alone, I would just recommend running around the river, because it's just way easier, and it has a ton of herbs, and the river buds especially, and some siren's pollen, and sea stalk, and occasionally some ankerweed. And number 3 is Transmog Farming. Now for this one you can farm raids, you can do dungeons. What I like to do is to farm a mount. I can farm several mounts in dungeons and raids, and whenever I loot anything BOE, I just keep it in my bag. Now BOE means binds on equip, by the way, so if you just loot anything that you can sell on the auction house, I just keep that in my bag, and once my bag is full, or after I've done the raid for the mount or whatever, I go back to the auction house and check the value of those items, and if they're worth anything over 2k or 1k, I post them on the auction house, and if they're worth anything less than 1k, then I just sell them. Now there are also some world content, so you can just like farm Transmog out in the open or out in the world as well. I think there's some caves in Tanaris and so on, really good for farming Transmog. You can also farm Stratholm, Skullman's, Scarlet Halls, and dungeons like that, Uldaman. There's like really good Transmog items in some dungeons, so just find out which item you want to farm, and then farm for that one. Now, number 4 might also go into the transmog farming kinda, but it's old world material farming. The most common ones are volatile water and volatile fire. 5-man or 2x4-man farms, but you can also do them solo. The volatile water one is really easy to do solo, but kind of with every farm, if you have a group, it's going to be more efficient, but if you just want to chill and just farm at your own pace, then just do it solo. It doesn't really matter that much. But if you want to be really efficient, then do it in a group. You don't lose anything by doing this in a group. Now, the reason I said that I kinda count the transmog farming and the old world content or old world material farming as one is because whenever I do a raid or a dungeon, like let's just say I do the stone core, and I'm farming for the stone drake mount dropping from the 2nd or 3rd boss, I pull everything in the dungeon and I skin everything that I can to get that savage leather, and I also keep the ember silk cloth, and I keep the transmog, and I'm also farming for a mount. So I'm doing 4 things at the same time, just by doing one dungeon. I'm farming for old raw material, as in I'm doing skinning, I'm farming for the cloth, I'm also doing transmog farming, and I'm farming a mount. And that's just a really easy way for me to make some extra gold, because I want to farm some mounts anyway, and it's a different way to farm gold than just doing BFA content, and it's just really easy and really chill. Now for number 5, we go back to BFA and farming BFA stuff. Now in this one, we're farming for meat, skins, and BOEs. Now this happens pretty much in Drustvar. I'm not sure if there's any other spots that is equal to this one right now when it comes to farming meat, but you're farming for the meaty haunch and the stringy loins, and you're making, on my server, I'm making roughly 10k gold per hour in the meat from this, and then by doing skinning I'm making another 5k roughly per hour, so 15k per hour from this farm, which is not really that great, but it's not that bad either. You can't really get any mount from this, but you can get epics. So you can get any world BOE epic drops, except for the mount. The mount in Drustvar only drops from humanoids, I believe. Might even be specific humanoids, but at least humanoids. And you're not killing humanoids, you're killing beasts because you're farming for meat. And of course, with this farm, the fewer skinners you have in your group, the more you will make as a skinner. Because if you have several skinners in your group, or several people with skinning, you will have to compete for the leather with other people. But if you're the only one, or if you only have 2, basically the fewer skinners you have, the more you'll make. So that is it really. That is my top 5 ways to make gold in the game right now. If you have any additional ones, then let me know. And yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, then leave a like on it, and I'll see you around. Peace.